Hello, my loves. Today we're going to look at some more Reddit stories, and if you've enjoyed a Reddit story, why don't you consider hitting the subscribe button? Maybe that's the notification bell too, and let's start with today's story. Story 1: A beautiful love story, unexpected twist at the end. Jake and Mia met under a blossoming cherry tree, where laughter and smiles exchanged like petals in the wind. Their eyes spoke volumes, and their hearts danced to the same beat. Through shared stories and stolen glances, a connection as beautiful as the setting sun bloomed between them. As days turned into weeks, they explored the city, hand in hand. Each alleyway, every cafe, and every museum held a new adventure, as if the world was waiting for their love to fill it. The way their fingers intertwined, an unspoken promise of togetherness. One chilly autumn evening, raindrops gently kissed their faces as they strolled along the riverbank. Seeking shelter, they found solace in an old bookshop. Inside, they discovered a hidden world, the pages of books telling tales of love, adventure, and dreams. Mia gifted Jake a leather-bound journal, a canvas for his thoughts and a testament to their love. He filled it with verses, expressing the depths of his affection. Mia, in turn, painted vibrant canvases, capturing the colors of their shared emotions. Seasons changed, but their love remained constant, like the North Star guiding sailors through the night. The snow-covered streets became their playground, as they embraced the warmth of each other's company. In the spring, a surprise picnic by a field of wildflowers, with a handmade bouquet as the centerpiece, marked a milestone in their journey. Jake's eyes sparkled with emotion, and Mia's laughter echoed like the sweetest melody. With time, their love deepened, transcending words. It was in the way they cared for each other, the way they supported dreams and wiped away tears. A connection so profound that no obstacle could break it. In a quaint chapel, surrounded by family and friends, Jake and Mia exchanged vows, sealing their love with a kiss. It was a celebration of a love story written in the stars, a tale that touched the hearts of all who witnessed it. Jake finally asked Mia a question that had been on his mind for a long time. He asked, "By the way, what is Mia short for?" Mia replied, "Oh, it's short for Michael." And so, their love story, like a timeless melody, continued to unfold, a testament to the enduring power of love, written in the language of their hearts. Story 2: A kind of sad love story. In May of 2017, I met a girl in-game. To protect her identity, we will call her Diana, maybe between the 20th to 25th of May. In the match, I noticed that everyone was saying she was a girl because of a mistake a player made, thinking she was a guy, lol. As the match ended, I went to private message to talk to Diana, just to establish a conversation after what happened. She ended up being a nice girl, to be honest. After 1 hour of talking, we shared various experiences in the game and some opinions about it. It was time to go to bed for both of us, so we said goodbye to each other and disconnected. As some weeks went by, we had already established a kind of friendship between us, a weird one. A lot of things happened during June, my 9th grade graduation, some friendship problems with a friend, depression from leaving high school, my birthday. Really, a lot of problems were in my head at that time. But I really didn't give a f*** about all of that. Until the worst arrived. Diana told me she wanted to tell me something very important and invited me to a private room. After about 30 seconds of uncomfortable silence, she said, "I am worried about something." "About what?" I asked. "I'm getting hospitalized soon." The awkward silence returned, but only for 5 seconds. "When?" "Why?" "Tomorrow, maybe at night. I have heart problems, they are getting worse." "Are you going to be okay?" "I don't know." After she was about to leave, I didn't have much to say, but I dumbly said what I felt for her. "I already know what you are thinking." And just after that, I barely remember her message saying, "I love you too." Weird, isn't it? I'll continue the other part because I need some rest for now. I haven't slept in a while. Teletubby back where I was. After a month and a half knowing us, we started to talk a lot more often. I always told her compliments to somehow distract her of her problems. Sometimes I skipped classes just to talk to her somewhere else in school. Maybe I was being manipulated by love, or the interesting fact that Diana was the first girlfriend I had in my 15 years of existence. On the 6th of August, I received a message from Diana saying that she was going to get operated on. I told her everything will be okay, you are in good hands, nothing is going to hurt you. She thanked me, saying, "I am relaxed now, thanks 3. I replied with a simple, "You're welcome," and she responded with her always common but lovely, "I love you." Hey, my doctor says it's time. Now that I'm relaxed, I'm not worried anymore. CYA:// that was the last thing I heard from her that day. I couldn't sleep that night. I was very, very worried, instead of thinking she was fine. The next day after school, I went directly to my house, because fuck projects, went straight to log into the game. She was online. Yes, she is fine. Hi Diana, how was it? What happened? Hi, I'm fine, you were right. Although I have pain in my chest, but nothing else. I was really worried about you, I didn't sleep last night. I promise I'm fine, don't worry. We started talking for a while about each other. Story 3, A Little Love Story. Freshman year of high school, this girl Taylor asked if I wanted to date her. I said no, that's fine, I have a girlfriend. She asked again, and I said no. 2 weeks later, I broke up with my girlfriend, and my friend Jerry was asking me who I could mess with next because I was lonely. He brought up Taylor, and I said she already tried to get at me. I'm cool off her. He laughed and asked me to repeat what I said in a sarcastic voice. I did and didn't think much of it. 3 weeks later, I found out they're talking, and she said I lied about that for some reason. I didn't really care and let them be. They dated for 8 months, and Jerry was a close friend. A year and a half later, after they broke up, Taylor and I started talking as friends. Our conversations took a provocative turn and occasionally became sexual. It grew from that to meeting parents, doing relationship things, talking 24/7, saying I love you, and seeming to care a lot. Jerry had no idea, but I thought he wouldn't care. One day, about 4 months ago, Jerry, Fred, another close friend, and I took acid. We had a conversation concerning Taylor and how good she was in bed, unprovoked from Jerry. He showed me videos of him having sex with her, unprovoked. He still didn't know we spoke. He bet me $100 that I couldn't have sex with her in a month. We were all high, and he was calling me a pussy, so I said okay, I'll do it. I told Taylor about the whole thing. She hated me at first, but still came over because I was honest. Jerry found out about the whole situation in a PlayStation party 2 days after he made the bet. He was eavesdropping on me and Tyler, another close friend, talking about it. I was asking Tyler if I should tell Jerry or not because I didn't know if it would hurt his feelings, or if I should not have her come over at all and forget about it. Tyler said just tell him, and I said okay, I will. Jerry ended up trying to coerce me into saying it the next day because he knew. I told him about it, and he said I was wrong for keeping it a secret when I was looking out for his feelings. She was reading his texts to me, and he was obviously hurt. I was looking out for him. She still came over. My mom busted in, and she had an anxiety attack, so we did not have sex. We cried together about everything. She left early due to the anxiety, but still talked to me as if we were in a relationship afterward. She tells me there's a low chance we're gonna have an actual relationship, but she constantly tells me there is a chance and does things like look at apartments, dogs, and baby names, all that sweet stuff. She said I can't let them know she's talking to me still, so I kept it under wraps. They were still acting funny towards me, so I cut my close friends off for her. She was all I had. She cut me off 3 weeks ago, saying I didn't give her enough attention. Jerry used to cheat on her multiple times, and she would still come back to him. And she stopped talking to me because of attention? We're both in a bad place mentally, and she's gonna break me down after building me up? She's so grimy and carefree about the situation too. Won't tell me a word of why she did it. Now I'm friendless and alone with nothing to look forward to. I told her many times she was what I looked forward to, and she said it was sweet and she would never leave me. Just to say it's my fault she's leaving and she did nothing wrong, all females disgust me. She took 1.5 years to convince me she was different, and she broke my trust completely. If you have a girlfriend now, cheat on her and break her heart. For the boys. All girls are the same inside, no matter how much they portray being different. They will abandon you without a second thought. Heartless creatures. Story 4, a story about my boyfriend. I don't know why, but I decided to share this story here. Lately, I haven't felt very loved by my boyfriend. He has a hard time showing love, but especially he hasn't done it in the past month or so. But this story is just a highlight in our relationship, helping me keep trying. My boyfriend's birthday is in May, and his cousin's birthday is the day before. They're 1 day apart and very close. He would constantly tell me stories about how his family and all relatives would have a blast on his cousin's birthday and always forget about his. How his cousin would always get more attention and more presents. He half-jokingly told me that he usually gets a book or a small thing for his birthday and that his family doesn't give him anything more. This made me feel really bad, but I thought maybe this year it will be different for him. He is such a nice boy, I couldn't imagine his family not being that nice to a literally perfect son. We call each other every day, and the night of his birthday we called too. It was about 11 p.m. We talked for quite a bit, and as it was 20 minutes before the clock strikes midnight on his birthday, he told me he'll go find something to eat in the kitchen and call me back soon. I was fine with that and waited. Once it was exactly 12 o'clock, I wrote him a big happy birthday paragraph of how grateful I am for him and just wishing him stuff and telling him I'll see him during the day. He read the message almost immediately but didn't reply for the next 10 minutes. I figured he was with his family congratulating him and stuff, so I just sat there patiently for him to answer and call back. Around 10 minutes later, he calls me. I hear his voice being happy, but he is also sobbing a bit. I was confused. When I asked what happened, he told me sorry for not answering immediately after reading my message. When he went out to the kitchen to eat, he got yelled at by his dad for no reason, just being a little too chirpy in the middle of the night. His dad then went to sleep, forgetting about his birthday. His dad is usually really strict to him. He abuses him mentally and sometimes even physically, but my boyfriend never goes into detail on that. He still loves his dad very much. He then told me that I am the only one who remembered. His entire family, parents and 2 siblings, forgot it was his birthday and simply went to bed. He was so heartbroken by that, but so extremely happy that I congratulated him. I had so many emotions flowing out of me, hearing him thank me but crying at the same time from the pain he's experiencing made me cry too. We talked and cried for several hours that night, me probably crying even harder than him. I never wanted to see my boy so hurt again. I started thinking about his gift weeks in advance, since the moment he told me about his previous gifts. I wanted to give him something special. Initially, he asked me to not get him anything at all, or a ruler at most, day before his birthday, and went shopping and made him a box of things. That box included his first ever wallet, matching couples bracelets, a deck of cards with reasons of why I love him written on every single one, some of his favorite candy, a custom t-shirt I made with my own hands and lips, a love letter and some roses inside. I believe in giving men flowers, although he's never given me any before and still hasn't. I just like doing it, he deserved it. I also included the ruler he asked for. The next day when I saw him and surprised him with the box, he hugged me and teared up a bit. He said it was the best gift he's ever received. I was so glad he liked it. We then went to dinner and later met up with his cousins. After that, the same day, he showed my quite personal present to his relatives and entire family. He said all of them were amazed and I felt very flattered. I spent the whole day with him. I hope I made that day unforgettable for him and that nobody forgets his birthday ever again. Story 5: A Tale of Love, a Triumph and a Tragedy. A man once existed, went by the name T, but no one recognized him nor knew his name. He traveled vast lands in an attempt to find that special someone. Nobody knew what this person might hold or might give him, but they knew they meant something to him, something that couldn't be given by any other ordinary person. He traveled miles upon miles, searching from the bottom of the Great Lakes to the highest peaks of the highest mountains, never seeming to find this special person. One day, he stumbled upon a small village located not too far from a great city said to have held the richest and most valuable items. He hadn't expected to find this someone in such a place made from stone and old empty buildings once used to serve almost everyone's needs. The town lay almost empty upon his arrival, with the occasional village person happening to stumble by from what stores still remained. There he found someone so true and very beautiful, a woman who held many secrets but shared no care in informing the occasional person when asked. She had a smile that seemingly lit up the valley the village was nestled in. She had locked eyes that attracted many but could only be unlocked by one. When the empty keyhole that was her eyes was unlocked by one man in particular, this man being T, they stared at each other as if they had known each other their entire lives. They shared a smile and began an interaction. They laughed, their laughter sending waves of joy around the valley, creating a spark of love. These two eventually began a partnership that would last a millennia. They talked about great things and their dreams, their weaknesses, and their sorrows. They talked and talked and talked until they both ran out of things to laugh about. It was only then that they saw each other for who they truly were, a broken man searching for love and a beautiful woman who had never felt true love. This created a bond unlike any other, a bond strong enough to hold continents together. They spent days together, then weeks, then months, and eventually years, all the while under the influence of love. They danced in never-ending fields of beautiful flowers. They hugged and kissed in the rain. They stayed inside and laughed while it was cold out. They stayed outside to enjoy the cool breeze and fresh air when the temperature allowed it. It was perfect. Neither could deny it, and neither could the townsfolk. They all knew the couple and what they had been through. Their echoes of love always cried out from the place the two called home, their laughter, their cries, their smiles, their frowns, their ups and downs. It was like a dream, but eventually one does have to wake up from a dream. They both began seeing each other in a different light, arguing from when the sun rose till the sun set on the horizon. Some days they'd even hide from each other to avoid a conflict. It cut them both deep, a hole in their hearts, a hole that was as deep as the great ships at the bottom of the ocean. They ran away from each other, vowing to never see each other again, only to return once more to apologize and rekindle their love. This cycle continued day in and day out until T voiced his concerns to his beloved. She was worried at his sudden willingness to show emotion, for this was unusual for him. He explained that the two had been at each other's throats almost every day, non-stop bickering and fighting. He promised her that in the areas he lacked, he'd be better and give his all to ensure it, only if she did the same, for it was clear that the two had their own problems. She vowed to do the same. Her love for him couldn't be held back any longer. Though they fought, they had loved one another for quite some time, and there were reasons for this love. Over the course of a few years, they not only rekindled their love but grew together, knowing that arguments were not just going to disappear at the drop of a hat. They had learned to live with this factor, proving that their relationship was real and never a dream. They continued this love for a long, long time until one day, an unusual announcement came from the man. It turned out that he had been diagnosed with a disease that couldn't be treated. The doctor offered medicine in an attempt to prolong the inevitable. The man was reluctant, but seeing the fear in his other half's eyes, he knew what he must do, so he agreed. Over the next few months, his condition slowly deteriorated, worsening with every cough. She knew he hadn't much longer to live, and so she began preparations at his command. He knew what it meant to him, and what it meant to her. He watched as she prepared for when he was gone, though she couldn't come to terms with it. It was like this for quite some time. The man got worse, and the woman broke more. Even in this time, they still grew together, grew to appreciate every moment, grew to appreciate each other's smiles, and grew to appreciate each other's time. It was then, and only then, when the man felt sick unlike anything seen by that point. The woman rushed her husband to the doctor, and to their dismay, the clock was up, and the man was given a day. They wept in each other's arms, for both of them knew what this meant. The man had to go. It was here that the woman thanked her husband for finding her, but her husband told her these few words: "No, my love, it was you who found me, it was you who saved me, and it will be you who will be here with me in my final moments. Our time together shall always take away from the time we're apart. As long as you have me in your mind and your heart, I shall be with you. No amount of dirt, air, or time will keep me away from you, for you are the only girl meant for me." The woman wept harder than she ever did and hugged him, knowing this was going to be the end of their time together. They fell asleep that night, and only one woke up. The woman was distraught with her loss, but still kept moving forward, for that's what her other half wanted. She watched as he was lowered into the ground, this being the last time they would ever see one another. Dirt began to fill up the hole, much like their love had filled the holes in their hearts. She fought through the tears and walked to the tombstone with the words, "I'm honored that you searched for me through thick and thin and stayed by my side through thick and thin despite everything, my love. I love you to the end of this world and back. We shall meet again, for our love is true and strong. Goodbye, my dear." As she stood up, the only thing left was a tombstone drenched in tears with the words, "No amount of time, dirt, or air shall keep me away, for this world holds one thing I cherish the most, my beautiful girl." The woman stepped foot in their empty house. The ear-piercing silence surrounded her. She sat down at the dining table where they had always laughed and messed around with each other as she stared out the window towards the mountains. There, a beautiful sunset was going down, a sunset that had given the same energy and delight as he once did. It might have just been another sunset for everyone, but for her, it was everything. Story 6: First Love Theory. I'm 19 years old, and I'm still in love with a guy I barely talked to in the summer of 10th grade. For starters, I'm just coming on this to get it out of my system. For some background information, I met this guy who was in one of my classes right before summer started. Prior to this, I had never been in a real relationship, mostly because I think high school relationships are a waste of time and a way to break your perception of love. I had always been asked out by guys, which I thought was weird because I didn't see myself as this amazingly beautiful person. I thought I was in the middle and stuck with it because, generally, I don't care. But often, people would ask me out, and I would say no every single time. In June, towards the end of school, I started talking to this guy, which was surprising for me because I don't do talking stages, but he wanted to get to know me, so I actually said yes. We started talking, and I wasn't really sure if I even liked him, but many were surprised that we were talking because he was really well known or popular among specific people at school, and I kind of kept to myself. Our convos in text would be pretty unresponsive because I avoided talking to him, and the few times I did talk to him in person, I said all the wrong things. For example, once I said it's good that we have one class together, he said no, we have two, and I argued, but he was right, so basically, I didn't know much about the guy. But he was kind, understanding, and really liked me. As I talked to him more, I realized he was quite different from most of his awful friends. Flash forward to summer starting. He always wanted to see me, but I always made excuses because, for starters, I have avoidant attachment issues, and second, I was afraid. But he was quite understanding. Sooner or later, things got pretty dry, and we stopped talking. The last time we talked, I intended to make plans, but that was a lie because I was actually in the hospital for reasons he would not understand. Part of the reason why I stopped talking to him was because his life was perfect. He had a loving family and people who surrounded him with unconditional love and support, and I had the complete opposite. Although we were similar as people, we were that much different in our own lives, so I left. After a week, I thought I'd be okay, but I wasn't. I felt aching heart pain. I did not know what it was. I kept thinking that I've been through so much awful shit in my life, so why does this even matter? I found myself missing everything about him, so I texted him in August, but there was no response. So then I decided to remove him from my social media. I felt like an idiot because I would not feel this way if I hadn't talked to him and played it smart like I always do. Going forward, I went back to school and found out he was in a relationship. I hated seeing him every day. It hurt me so bad knowing he'd never like me the way I liked him. What's funny is that he wanted me first. My mind was always on him. I'd talk to my friends and pretend I was talking to him. When it got to the point where I would just try to avoid him, I still saw him. I went to the fair. I saw him there. I went to the movies. I saw him there. It was just not fair. It felt like I was being punished. He was always there with his girlfriend. Although I never felt insecure, I just kept thinking about how good things could have been if I didn't sabotage my own happiness. It got to a point where everything in my life was so messed up, and every time I was hurt, I'd think about him to feel better. I just kept reminding myself how I've been through worse than most people I know, so I thought I would get over this, but I never did. I felt like Kevin when he wasn't around. Through this whole thing of a war within myself, I never let him know because, even though it was hard, I wanted to preserve respect for myself. If I told him all this, it would be a whole different story, but he'll never know. Although that hurts, I think I'm content with it. To this day, I think about him and hurt. Sometimes, when things go wrong in my life, all I think about is him and the comfort he gave me. I've always been the girl to be there for my friends and pick them up and give them motivation by telling them all the hardships in my life that also help them keep going, but I'd never had someone to make me feel like that until I met him. It's been so long, and I don't think my love ever died down or changed. Story 7. I have the most wonderful boyfriend. So, my birthday was on Tuesday. Generally, every year for my birthday, I celebrate the entire weekend, especially if my birthday lands on a weekend day that year. I'll go out to bars with my close friends, hang out with other people, and do different things on the days after or leading up to my birthday. Anyway, the last 6 to 8 months have been extremely rough for me. I've gone through a lot of changes. I've moved to different places, recently lost my job, had to move back home, and struggled to find fosters for my cats. It's a whole thing, and it's taken a huge toll on my mental health and well-being, as well as my general happiness. So, this year, I really wasn't excited for my birthday at all, which is extremely out of character for me, as I have always been maybe a little too excited about my birthday my entire life. I'm usually unable to shut up about my birthday, but this year, I didn't even really think about it and almost forgot about it up until about 5 days before. I had made loose plans with a cousin of mine to meet up at a restaurant bar near the beach with her and her friends and invited my friends in the group chat. When I checked in a few days later to see who was coming, just about everyone backed out. My boyfriend is also in this group chat, but he pretty much never interacts, so I often forget that he's even in there. Anyway, all of my friends backed out, and I didn't really care too much about it because it gave me an excuse to cancel these plans anyway, as I really just wasn't in the mood to do anything for my birthday. But I can't lie, my feelings were kind of hurt. Well, on Friday, I thought I was just going to have a nice quiet time with my boyfriend and his parents, but he ended up throwing me a surprise party with all of his friends. Apparently, after he saw that everyone had backed out in the group chat, he was pissed. He contacted all of his friends, who are kind of my friends too, I guess. I definitely know them and we've all hung out multiple times, and told them to come to his house to surprise me. I was super surprised, and I started crying. He just made me feel so loved and special. He also made me an incredible model of my dream cottage, which he designed all on his own. It's so beautiful and has a bunch of little details that are personal to us and our relationship. He worked on it for 7 months and presented it to me on the day of my birthday. It's so beautiful and has a bunch of little details that are personal to us and our relationship. I just wanted to share this because it's so sweet. I've been feeling really shitty for months, and he just wanted to see me happy. I'm so grateful for him. I hope everyone can find a partner who is this loving and thoughtful. Bye and see you again in the next videos and stories.